Okay, so it's a very hot day today. You can hear the cicadas out the window here. It's the sound of summer when you hear the cicadas. A beautiful view from the room. This is the campus of Shengli University. And again today it's almost 40 degrees Celsius. I'm just sweating here. I haven't even really done anything, and you can just see on my shirt it's just like soaking wet, like I've done some heavy work or something. But it's almost 40 degrees Celsius. Really maybe not the best day for painting. I was really hoping to work on this particular painting here. Okay, so today we have some time to go into room 601. We have some plants here. View out the window. Okay, so welcome to room 601. It's the modern art. That's Chinese characters that say the modern art classroom. Let's go inside, see what's happening. Okay. So today we want to get ready for our fall semester. I've got some cleaning up to do, getting some preparations in place to get the classroom ready for the fall. We've got some very old plastic paper on the floor which needs to be removed, and so we'll be doing that today. And we can see the collection of some of the students' works. This larger painting actually is one of my paintings, but we have a collection of, here's another painting that I'm working on right now. I like some of the colors. I think it's a good beginning, but it definitely needs some work to bring it up to the next level. I think I can do that with some right color choices and finding a nice location for a key focus, a key center of attention kind of subject. Here we have some of the student paintings from last year. These will probably go into storage. We'll take a closer look at these another time. That's a painting, this red painting. I'm very happy with the result. That's a finished painting. Started off with just some newspaper. The newspaper shapes turned into a bunch of animals, and I used that as my starting point and just went from there. So I like using the scratching technique. After I shaped out these animal shapes, I basically went in with some yellow paint on the background, which I covered with some red, and then did some scratching to reveal some of that yellow underpainting. And this is a painting I'm working on this week. I think it's nearly finished. Sort of a tropical scene. So we'll be working on this one today. Okay, so welcome to room 601. This is my painting classroom, which I'm going to get ready and prepare for the upcoming fall semester. So today we've got lots of cleaning to do to get this room ready. I might not actually be in this room, so I want to make sure that in the event that I have a different classroom, that this classroom will be empty and ready for the next art teacher. So today we might be doing a little bit of painting. I just want to show you an example of some of the paintings that I'm recently working with. This is sort of like a study of two figures. This one here, this newspaper model figure, this one came about by using some newspaper collage work, and then I did a second piece sort of like as a study to the first one, and I was using this construction glue. The textures that you see in this painting, that's done using some construction glue, some gawking. This is a painting that's completed. This week. I think The Stone Age would be a really good title. I was asking people for some titles, and the students suggested in the top right-hand corner that those sort of unclear figures look like some early prehistoric ancient paintings, so that it kind of reminded him of some sort of like a cave painting, or so I kind of thought the Stone Age would be a nice title for this painting. This painting here, Mallard, I really like some of the scratchiness. I'm really happy with the variety of scratching directions. It kind of gives this a painting a dirty, muddy feeling, but I kind of like that. I know some people were commenting they didn't really like the brown, earthy colors, that it kind of looks dirty, but that's something that I kind of find attractive. So, okay, well, let's sweep along here. Here are some paintings from some students from last year. This larger one is a painting that I just completed last week. Might be better in the light here. I really like the horse. It's a really abstract, kind of a strange looking, unusual. I was really happy with the horse figure. It's so strange and unusual. So we got our castle, our horse, and some swords. This definitely has some kind of like a history story to it. Again, it's kind of silly, but I in some ways I like how that one ended up. Today I was thinking of working on this smaller painting here. The colors, I really like the colors, but it needs some sort of a focus or attention-getting subject. It's a little too, there's too much of the sameness. So I went in with some charcoal. These markings here is using some colored charcoal pencil, and that's something that I've just recently been exploring with. These are such an excellent, I love these large charcoal. I ordered these on the internet. I couldn't find them at any of the art shops here in China, but it's really nice large pieces of charcoal. So I like to experiment with glue and some acrylic mediums. I like to mix it up, but I usually work just in acrylics. Here's a larger painting. Um, really happy with the results of this one. Used a bit of a scratching technique to give it some background detail, but these animal shapes really just appeared on their own. When I started painting, I like to use newspaper as my first step, sort of like a collage, and then when I rip off the paper from the canvas, I sort of study and look at the shapes of the newspaper, and something usually jumps out at me, and for this one it was just filled with various animals, and so that was a nice beginning for this one. So that one's finished. This one, I might work on this one today. This one's close to being finished, a nice sort of tropical scene. I just need to introduce some different colors here. It's a little too much green and blue for me. I think we need to step it up and introduce some new colors. So, okay, so that's a little bit of what we've got planned for today. Okay, so this is my sailboat painting. It's the beginning of a painting of a sailboat that's caught in some terrible weather and it's in trouble. This is a sailboat. I'm not sure if you can see I used the glue texturing to create the sailboat, but I really wanted the shape of the sailboat to be background, and I have to definitely help people to, I think, now see the sailboat by introducing some details. I can use some color and some details to help people see the sailboat. So this one's unfinished. I like the beginning though. I kind of like how it's looking right now. And mostly because of the variety of the directions of the brush strokes. I really wanted to show some sort of confusion and some sort of, being caught in a storm with the wind and the water just going everywhere, and the sailboat actually being very difficult to see through this crazy weather. So we'll see where this one goes. Okay, here's a little closer look of our castle, our horse, our crazy horse. You can see some of the newspaper elements. I try not to color or paint over all of the newspaper. I wanted some of that newspaper to show through. That's how I sort of began this painting. Once I ripped off the newspaper, the shapes sort of revealed to me these sort of three different subjects: this castle at the top, this crazy looking strange abstract horse, and these swords or these cross shapes. So very silly painting, but that's basically how I start my paintings. Here's the example that I use with my students. At one time this wall contained like this poster, and I tried to rip off this poster, this advertising, and when I ripped off the poster, part of it didn't want to come off. You can sort of see there is this poster of the famous Bird's Nest building in Beijing, and this is a great starting point, as I explained to the students. When I look at this shape that's left on the wall here, I really saw the shape of a bird, like a cardinal or some kind of a bird, especially the head here. So all we have to do is add this beak here, maybe add this foot, add a tail here, and we got ourselves a bird. And what I like about that is I didn't decide to paint a bird. I sort of let the newspaper guide me, direct me, give me what the inspiration or subject should be for that painting. And I think all of my paintings contain that sort of element, and which is why I use the construction glue, which is why I'm introducing my students to using this caulking glue, this construction material, which is normally used to fix holes in the wall. So here's an example of we got a hole in the wall, and then they use the glue to smooth out the holes in the walls. Well, we can use it to texture our surfaces, to give us a 3D beginning. And as you can see on this painting here, we have some lovely glue textures. And then if you're random with the glue, like I was in this particular painting, then I just step back, turn the canvas around, study the glue shapes, and let the painting let the painting tell me what it wants to be rather than me deciding before I begin a painting. And I think this is a very common technique used by a lot of abstract painters and artists, is that rather than knowing what you're going to be painting for that particular day, you really just allow the materials, or to allow the first step. Some people use like invisible pencils. I know some artists like to use the paper mache and the collage technique. This one here, I used the glue. This tropical painting, I think it won't take much to finish this one off. I just need to introduce some new colors. But I really like the way this one is shaping up here. So I think the trees are kind of the eye-catching component to the painting, but I can still keep it in impression style, abstract style. So that's my goal. But a lot of times I end up with a painting like this, where I like the colors. I like how we have the glue textures. We can see the texturing from the glue, but it doesn't have like any sort of like a subject or like an attention-getting subject item or an area, like a main focus, something for the viewers to focus on. So a lot of my paintings, I take it up to this step, and then it's a bit of a struggle whether I want to introduce a subject matter, which is what people want, rather than a pure abstract painting. I find that the paintings that people want to buy, the favorites, the paintings that are favorites to most viewers and most people are ones where they want to be given the subject. They want to sort of like know what the painting is about, rather than using their own imagination.